It's time for the 1430 Connection on 1430 WNAV and 99.9 FM, spotlighting news, newsmakers, and important community issues. Now, with this week's edition of the 1430 Connection, here is WNAV news anchor Donna Cole.
Welcome to the 1430 Connection. I'm Donna Cole. In the studio with me once again, I welcome back Charlie Gischlar, spokesperson for the Maryland State Highway Administration. Charlie, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me again.
So we're talking roads, state roads, not to be confused with, which we always do, all of us, county roads. Okay, so how did we get up to 55 miles per hour on 665 in recent history? And the reason why it irks me is I come off of Route 2 heading northbound and get onto 665 into going inbound towards Annapolis, and suddenly...
Chicopee Round Road in that area?
Yes. Yeah. Suddenly we have to go up to 55 miles an hour, and I must be getting old because I don't want to go fast anymore.
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. I had not heard about that. So it probably some kind of a speed study we did, and the 85th percentile of the motorists were doing that or over, so we adjusted accordingly. I don't know whether that was somebody that requested that or what. I can follow up with you on that.
We'll find out the reason how we ended up at 55. 665 is a state road, but Forest Drive is not a state road. That's where we always get confused.
Yeah. So if any of the listeners or anything want to know who maintains what road, if you just Google m.sha know your roads, there's a link we put together. It's GIS based too. It'll tell you whether it's a county maintained road, a state maintained road, a toll authority maintained road, or a city road. So you can find out who owns that road from that point.
Okay, lights. We're seeing more lights out in recent history, less lights on state roads, like on the Route 2 bridge going into Edgewater.
Yeah.
What's the deal with that?
Well, I understand there was a power disruption in one of those areas. I'm not sure if it was near the Naval Academy Bridge, which we just put all those lights on.
Yeah, the Naval Academy Bridge, I know, had problems for years.
But there was, we finally got a pretty good remedy to that one. Right. But I understand there was a transformer issue that they're working on, so we're hoping... I have
seen people working over there, and I know that there was yes.
We're really hoping to get that solved as we continue to go through winter.
Okay, this by the way, this is the show where I blame Charlie for everything that goes on state roads. More dead deer, longer on state roads. It seems like are there not as many people? Like do you have a crew just out there looking for
deer?
Yes.
No. What our crews do, and we encourage people, if you see that, please go to our website at roads.maryland.gov, click on Contact Us. We will be out there hopefully in a business day to get that deer or those deers.
Okay.
Deers.
Yeah, it's a plural.
So
we'll get to the bottom of that one too.
So we encourage that because the public is our best eyes and ears. We're trying to do any one of 20 things each day. Our maintenance crews, and of course we had a record amount of rain this year, so our crews have been diverted to try to clear out drainage ditches, clear the pipes to make sure we introduce positive drainage, fix roads that have been damaged. We had a lot of slope issues.
We're going to get into that topic in just a second.
Yeah,
you know where I'm heading with that.
Yep.
Okay, so call or go on the website, and there is a number to call too.
There is. You can call our local shop. I don't have the number handy, but I think it's 410-841-1000 is the main district office. They can hook you up. But the best thing to do is to do it electronically because it gets automatically fed right into the whatever shop's responsible.
Okay, rain. Issues with rain, potholes, sinkholes. I don't know what the difference is, but you know what the difference is.
Yeah. So a traditional sinkhole, we hear that, and we hear people say it, and of course it's a hole in the road. That's basically the bottom line. Traditionally, a sinkhole is when you go out toward Frederick County and there's limestone karst out there, geology underneath, and that whole thing gives way, after thousands of years of, the limestone getting eroded, and then you get one good rainstorm and the topsoil collapses. That's technically a sinkhole. Most of what we see around here are pipe issues underneath the ground. It's starting to show signs. Yeah.
At 214 and Muddy Creek Road.
Let me just start off by saying, as an agency, we're very, very sorry about some of the inconvenience that happened there. That is one way in and one way out of that peninsula, and that's the area. But this was a situation where we had to fix it. Very, very deep pipe. It's not something where your normal pipe is just, a couple feet under the ground where we can get in, cut the road open during the day, and not too deep, but get it and fix the pipe and be done with it. This was, in some areas, 12 to 15 feet under the ground. And when you dig that deep in the time frame that you have between 9 and 3, there are some times where, with all the rain we had, some of the slope, the actual hole that the crews were digging in started to become unstable, and that becomes dangerous for the workers. A couple of times the contractor factor went into the rush hour and backed traffic up to upwards of an hour, for which, hey, we very much apologize. But I think the good thing is here, finally, that we have, by Friday, we're hoping with the weather, to have this all said and done. We are out of the main portion of the road right now. We were able to, earlier this week, late last week, pave the eastbound direction and shift traffic to the point where we didn't have to be so intrusive with the driving public
anymore.
The
questions that it came up that I saw on Facebook from the people on the Mayo Peninsula, why couldn't this be done at night?
I don't know what the answer is to that. I think that you need a lot of daylight too to see this.
To see down into the.
But there's also when the temperatures become like an issue at night with any kind of materials this time of the year. It has been a little bit more milder, but at nighttime it has dropped below a critical part. So that's part of the reason. We did have to get in there and really specify these hours because, again, it's one way in and one way out of that peninsula. So, I mean, there is no easy work down that way. So
the other question was, this wasn't the first rodeo with this hole. This was the second time or third time it being repaired. Why wasn't it done right the first, second?
The whole we started to notice an issue, so we steel plated it, and we had to align a contractor, get all the materials ordered, and figured out what needed to be done. And then sometimes once you get in there, it's like a kind of a Pandora's box of what's in there.
All right, we're going to take a short break. We're going to move on from the Mayo Peninsula and have some more questions for Charlie when we return. Welcome back to the 1430 Connection. My name's Donna Cole, and I'm in the studio today with Charlie Gischlar, spokesperson for the Maryland State Highway Administration. We are moving off of the Mayo Peninsula now in this interview, and State Highway Administration will be doing the same hopefully today or in the very near future. But not far from the Mayo Peninsula, this is a question I have for you, and sometimes, quite often, journalists don't know things are wrong until they see it for themselves, and South River High School. There is a speed limit sign with a flashing light above it indicating to slow down in advance of the crosswalk at South River High School. I know you're not going to know the answer to this one right away, but I would like an answer to this one. People driving on 214, not all of them, but many of them, treat it as another in the line of Edgewater motor speedways, like I call them. Route 2 is another one. So there's a lot of people speeding on 214. Not everybody. However, there's a crosswalk right beyond a bend in the road right near South River High School, and there's a sign that warns you there's a speed reduction as it should as you near South River High School. However, those flashing lights are not on half days or on extended days at the adjoining Cat South School. That doesn't change when there's a half a day or when kids are being let out later, as is the case, I think, 2 days a week for Cat South. Can these flashing lights be programmed to allow for half days?
I certainly can find out for you about that. I mean, these are things that we can control. So, I mean, that is something I can go back to the folks back at the shop and ask in the district office. It's imperative, though, that drivers understand the speed limit, especially near schools, because it takes 1 second of distraction or aggressive speeding driving to change both lives forever.
And it has done that at that intersection before, and that's what scares me so much.
Yeah, so, I mean, we're with the Look Up and Look Out campaign. This is a pedestrian safety campaign statewide, but it's even more applicable, in the very congested suburban and some of the urban centers like we have, where you have a lot of pedestrians and a lot of vehicles. So we're asking for a partnership with motorists. So, it's not going to help you to get there 2 nanoseconds faster by stepping on the gas. Make sure you know what the speed limit sign is, and keep all your attention on the road. There's no contest between a vehicle and a pedestrian.
Yeah,
and again, like I said, for that 1 second trying to get there 1 second faster, and taking your eyes off the road for any number of reasons, you can change 2 lives forever: yours as the driver and the pedestrians. So,
and we did have a horrific start to the school year in Maryland, not necessarily in Anne Arundel County, with students being hit by vehicles. There was one in Baltimore area and one in Montgomery County. Yeah, it's just.
And a lot of these are preventable. and that's what we're trying to get out there through an education campaign, through shows like this, through just different kinds of materials that we put out there. Look up, look out, pedestrians. Make sure you try to cross inappropriate locations. If you're walking at night, of course, the sun's setting now at 5:30. It's going to be 5:30 at the end of next month. It gets darker early, so you try to be seen, see and be seen. And motorists, that's the big thing here is the speed, and we have a major speeding issue, and just distraction. And for every second you take your eyes off that road to something else.
And onto your phone or onto your GPS or onto your radio.
Yeah, it takes, you're driving blind, so.
Just don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's, go back to the way old school a little bit, just drive.
Put the phone in the back
Everything
seat.
can wait.
Put the phone in the back seat. Women, put the phone in your purse in the back seat. Men, just throw it in the back seat.
I have a young driver who's only a year now on the road.
You and me both.
And I still get that horrible pit in my stomach when I see her pull out.
Yep.
And I told her, this is an offense that to Dad here is once and done. If I catch you texting behind the wheel, you're done. You're not going to drive for a predetermined amount of time, and you're not going to have a phone, so don't even put yourself in that position, because I have a zero tolerance with that.
I agree with you completely. I wished we could do it with our neighbors, with our friends. Just throw the phone in the back seat.
Everything can wait. Nothing's that urgent.
All right, we're going to take another short break. More about Maryland roads when we return. Welcome back to the 1430 Connection. I'm Donna Cole. In the studio with me today is Charlie Gischlar, spokesperson for the Maryland State Highway Administration. Route 450, everybody's favorite drainage area. When it rains, when it rains even a little, 450 often gets the brunt and floods in a certain area.
I can't tell you how many times I look down at my pages. I get texts, about anything that's going on the roads. I have to. And this year has been awful when it comes to rain. It's been so much. Almost as tall as me, over 6 feet of rain we've received. And that area right there is prone to it because it's low-lying, and there are some tributaries in there. Bacon Ridge is one of them. So it's been closed a lot. What we're trying to do through there is, the infrastructure is aging. It's getting old. So what we try to do is go in, and when we recognize there needs to be a replacement, everything has a shelf life. We maybe try to re-engineer something to accommodate, for whatever reason, the extra rain.
Right.
So that's going to be something to look forward to in June. There are some stream restrictions, of course, until late May. So in June, we're very, we want to get out there and start this project.
Will this be closed down, 450?
It's going to be closed on weekends.
Oh, okay.
So like 3 weekends, and we should have it all done.
It's a big bike area. Bikes closed to bikes.
Yeah,
also?
that I don't know. We do try to accommodate that when we can, but. Our goal is to try to get in and get out and do this.
And for local traffic, still closed.
But the good thing about that is you can go right up to the point of the closure.
Okay.
So for residences and businesses, we're not trying to impact any businesses through there. But it's a pretty easy detour. It's Route 50, basically.
Right.
So I'll be putting all kinds of releases out and bothering everybody and giving you at least a month in advance.
All right. Artificial intelligence controlling corridors around the county. How many of these corridors were there?
9, initially 9 to 11, I think.
Yeah,
I can't remember the original number.
Are they working? They're up and running?
It's something. It really is the way technology is affecting now roads in a positive way. Yes, they are working. If you could save yourself 5 to 10 minutes in a trip, that's a lot. But we had some in your neck of the woods.
Well,
in South County.
I'm playing stupid here. I won't play stupid anymore. I know they're running. I know at least one is running. We are from the Harbor Center down to Tarragon, and I do see it working. And it's making traffic move a little bit better than it ever did.
Yeah, and then up Ritchie Highway between Hammonds Lane and 11th Avenue. And if you can kind of visualize in your head, go up in the air 1,000 feet and look down. We're going to start with another round of these coming in the Glen Burnie area, which really is needed.
The cameras that are on these corridors, will they also be used as traffic cams or no?
No. These are for traffic operations only. We get that a lot. Unfortunately, if somebody gets some kind of a ticket, or if they get in a crash or something, they're like, can I see that? And they don't record. Right. But this is looking at the big system here, and it's using the AI technology, all computer-based, but what it's doing is have sensors upstream and downstream and everywhere in between, and it's constantly changing to help the through traffic, and then also just try to keep things moving better.
Yeah, so the lights aren't on the same patterns as you would have expected them, or as they were for many years.
Yeah, I mean,
the lights are now changing to work with the traffic.
If you look at the evolution of traffic signals, it started out where you had to ride over a big metal piece that was embedded in the ground. You didn't hit it. And that would start a sequence to do the phasing of the signals. And then it moved into those little cameras you've seen on the different span wires or the archways.
Right.
We're still using them. That's going to be that's the Optimod technology. That is going to be what is needed to make this system work. It's the software that goes into the cabinet that is the true genius behind this whole thing. So it's just, one of the ways that we're trying to get things moving, get people on their way. Idling traffic is never a good thing, because your car is not really running at efficiency idling. It's moving.
Speaking of idling traffic, the Severn River Bridge, how'd that go? We put in the 4th lane eastbound. Have we seen a definite improvement?
Well, what we're doing right now is measuring that with our travel forecasting folks at SHA, M.SHA. But we've heard anecdotally that we're not sitting there as much as they were on typical Fridays. And, now it's like Wednesdays. People are starting to head to the beach during the summer. But, yeah, it kept it moving. The trouble we had this year was all the rain. Rain always slows up traffic, which is a good thing.
And
you always want to drive for the conditions.
Changes the dynamics on the Chesapeake Bay Bridge, which puts the traffic eastbound.
But what we've done there, and I love this project because it was done on time, and on budget, was we also eliminated a little bit of a bottleneck there, a lane drop.
Right.
So that really helps.
Side roads on the Eastern Shore, ongoing issue. People coming back from the beach or going to the beach thinking that they should just get off and go, even if it's a traffic app telling them take this detour, and the people on the Eastern Shore are getting more and more pissed about it.
Well, and rightly so. US 50 is made to handle the higher amounts of traffic. Now, you have so many cars and vehicles and trucks and everything else at one time, at specific times, you exceed what we call the critical lane volume, which then results in a backup. You add in through there a disabled vehicle or a minor crash. For every minute during the peak hours that a lane is blocked on a road like that, it takes 4 minutes to recover.
Right.
So a lot of this new technology, as great as it is in navigating people, is telling them to get off on the roads, but our message is to stay on 50. Ultimately, you're going to get through there quicker. What happens is you have a big influx of people that get onto the side roads there, and what you're doing, not only are you gridlocking the local residents and their businesses through there, you're also onto a facility that can't handle that kind of traffic, so it's going to quickly gridlock, and you're better up on Route 50.
And you're creating safety issues for the locals.
No, they can't get in and out. It takes them forever to get in and out. We hear them, and that's why we've been trying to really up our messaging about stay on 50. It's ultimately going to be quicker.
All right, so you might not have the answer to this yet, but I did ask John last time he was here, John Schofield. People on the Eastern Shore have said, why don't we have a cloverleaf at 213 and 50 and 50 and 404? And I think I've mentioned this to you. I don't know.
Yeah.
Which seems like a no-brainer, because these are two areas that really get backed up.
They back up, yeah, because it's not great.
If you don't have an answer yet, could you find out from these people on the shore if this might be something that SHA would consider?
Yeah, that would require something that's a capital project, so it had to become a priority.
So is there somebody you can say, hey, is this a possibility?
Well, I can look into it for you.
And then you could raise the money yourself, Charlie.
Of course. Yeah, GoFundMe, right?
Right.
So I can tell you that on Sunday afternoons, particularly on the 5213 interchange, that's where we saw a lot of the issues. So we're going to try to work with our district traffic folks on the Eastern Shore there to see if we can tweak something, because every little bit helps. And now with the 404 being totally widened between US 50 and the town of Denton, that also is really helping us move traffic in and out. People are finding different ways to get to and from.
I went to see a bird, which is no surprise to you, and I traveled on 404, and I was just incredibly impressed. It's really nice.
I mean, it's a heck of a road, and to do that in the time frame, it's just kudos all around.
I think we're running out of time.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So, you're going to have to come back to talk more. Thank you.
Be careful of any bad weather this weekend.
Oh, speaking of which, your budget for bad weather, let me see it. Did I have it written down? You had $71 million budgeted this winter.
That's correct.
To remove snow and ice from 17,950 miles of roads across the state. So this weekend, or if it does snow, or the next snowstorm, whenever that happens, y'all better be ready.
We'll be ready.
We haven't put a lot of bad weather on the roads.
I got something here for you. It's new this year. It's called the Storm Map. It's statewide transportation operations resource map. It's electronic GIS based. You'll see where our plows are at all times.
That's pretty cool.
Yep. So it's right there on our website very prominently.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
This is the 1430 Connection. We will see you next week.